Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Buddy McGirt here in Bolton. How are you doing today, Buddy? Exciting times?
Everything's great. I can't complain.
Can't complain. Big times for Callum Smith, fighting in his hometown, his home city. After the performances he had in recent years, is this a real big opportunity for him to stamp his mark in his home city?
Well, I haven't seen him fight before, to be honest. But I think that when you're up and coming, fighting in your hometown, is great. You know what I mean? And it's like how can I put it? A great homecoming, and especially if you could bring the crowd out and you put on a good performance.
How is that for a fighter, and how does it differ to any other fight week when you're in the ring and you've got your home fans screaming for you? Is it a different sort of pressure maybe?
Sometimes it depends on the individual. Some people take it as pressure and some take it as motivation. So it all depends on the individual.
Talk to me about some of the work that you've been doing with Khalil. You say you've been with him a fairly short amount of time now, but what have you seen from him in the gym?
He has a lot of untouched talent. You know what I mean? So we just got to take it one fight at a time, not rush it, take our time, and just work on a lot of his strong points that he hasn't been using.
What do you put that down to? You say he's sort of untouched talent. Why haven't we seen that talent come through, do you think?
I just think experience, and sometimes when a fighter is used to winning one way, they stick to just that. But you got to make them understand that to get to that next level, you're going to need more than that. You got to add on to it.
What do you think he can gain from working with yourself and working with different trainers? We see a lot of fighters changing trainers these days. Do you feel like that adds different things to the armory of a fighter? Or?
I don't think it's a good idea for fighters to keep changing trainers, but I'm an old school guy, so I believe that if you're with that person and they've been with you from day one, you stick with them, you ride it out. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. It's just life, and football, whether it's soccer or football, if a team loses a game, they don't get rid of the coach. They figure it out. I mean, that's the bad thing about boxing is the loyalty. You got to remain, someone that stick with you from day one, you got to figure out a way to ride it out, man.
You've been in the UK for a little while, I know. Over the weekend, Dan Azeez was out in Crystal Palace in Selhurst Park.
Right.
Not the best performance we've seen from Dan Azeez. Just from your point of view, what didn't go right on the night?
It's just one of those nights, man. You just get those nights where nothing clicks, but you got to find a way to make it click, it's just one of those nights. You sit here and try to think of 1,000 reasons, 1,000 excuses, but the bottom line is this. In this game, like in any game, sometimes you just have those nights, and when you don't have a great night, you just got to figure out a way to get through it.
There was nothing in the lead up to the fight that you put your finger on why it didn't happen on the night?
There's nothing because he boxed with, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, the guy Vosnik that fought Benavides. I mean, he boxed, he looked great. He looked very, very good against him. When he got back from the States, he looked very, very good. But those, it happens, man. That's the nature of the beast,
Full belief that Dan Azeez can pick himself back up and get back to that world level where we've seen him in the likes with Joshua Buatsi and still fight for that world title. It's a very competitive division, especially here in the UK at the moment.
Without a doubt. I mean, listen, everybody has bad days. Michael Jordan didn't always score 100 points. You have bad days. It happens. The key is what you learn from it and how you come back from it.
I want to talk to you about a couple of former fighters you work with, starting with Derek Chisora. He's got a big fight coming up at the end of July against Joyce. There's a lot of people that call for Derek to call it a day, hang up his gloves. He's had a lot of hard wars in his career. Are you part of that? Would you say it's probably the time to call it a day for Derek?
I'm going to say this. I hope everything goes well for Derek. I love Derek. Derek's my man. He's like my little brother. Even though he's bigger than me, he's like my little brother because I'm older. So I wish him the best. My main concern is him not getting hurt.
Do you think he has a chance of beating Joyce?
Listen, with Derek, you never know. But I got to go with Derek. You know what I mean? Even if he had no arms, I still got to go with Derek. I'm going to push for Derek no matter what. He's my man. I love him. So I've always got Derek's back, and I'm always going to support him.
Good stuff. We have to move on to Dillian White as well. We saw him out making his return over in Ireland a number of months back now, but it's gone a little bit quiet on the front of Dillian White. As someone watching on from the outside, is there any particular fights that pique your interest that you'd like to see in the opposite corner to Dillian?
Well, right now, we started training a week ago, and just to keep the cobwebs off, and I guess he's waiting to see what's what's next? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just waiting for him to say, hey, coach, we got this date with this guy. Then we get to work.
From what you've seen of Dillian in the gym, has he still got all that spite, all that hunger that he's had, even though he's had such a long time out of the ring?
Yes, he still does. You know what I mean? Listen, if I'm working with a fighter, I don't care who they are. When I see they lose that little fire, I'll be the first one to let them know. And he still has that fire.
There's a couple of things from over the pond, or your side of the pond, I guess we could say, that I'd like to get your thoughts on. Tank Davis was back with a win at the weekend. He's in a very, very experienced, I mean, the era of fighters he's in at the moment, they're very, very good fighters.
He's in a hot division. He's in a very, very hot division. I think the fight right now has to be him and Shakur Stevenson. I mean, that's the fight. That's the only fight that makes sense, right? In my opinion. I mean, who else at lightweight? You have other guys. You got a Haney. You have who else you got there? You got Ryan. He already fought Ryan. You know what I mean? He just beat Martin. So I think the fight right now, and Matias just got beat. So I think right now the fight's got to be Tank and Shakur. That's got to be that's got to be the fight, man. You know, that's got to be the super fight.
Do you think there's anybody else in the division that really tests Tank Davis?
There's a lot of guys that can test him, but I think right now the fight, while they both are hot, is him and Shakur. I believe that's the fight right now.
Something from a few months ago that really piqued the interest was Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and I know Floyd Mayweather. There was a lot of back and forth between those three guys, and particularly a sparring video which was seemingly leaked from Floyd, sparring back in the day a number of years ago. Was that disappointing to see things like that? I know over here we rarely see it.
I don't get caught up in social media stuff. I don't get caught up in he say, she say. I don't get caught up in when guys are feuding. I don't get caught up in that, man. I mean, the bottom line is whatever sparring is one thing. Fighting is a totally different animal. So you can beat somebody up in sparring. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in the fight. So, I really don't feed off of that stuff,
If you were in the fighter's shoes, though, would it be disappointing seeing things like that leaked? I know in your day it would have rarely happened, but now with social media, it's a thing that happens.
Listen, in my day, you could have been the champ and got your butt kicked 2 or 3 times a week. It didn't matter. You just learned from it and you kept it moving. So me personally, it wouldn't affect me because it's not what I'm doing in the gym. It's what I'm going to do fight night is what counts.
Something that seems to be coming up more and more is fighters testing positive for PEDs or other drugs. I know during your day there was maybe a different attitude towards it. Do you feel like it's a change in attitude from the fighters at all? Or
I think that whoever's, how can I put it? I just think that it's wrong if you got to take stuff like that. I think it's, I just think it's really messed up and I think that if someone will encourage a fighter to do that, I think they should be banned as well as the fighter. You know what I mean? Why would you encourage someone to, how I see it is this, you're doing something like that, somebody can get seriously hurt. Then what? You're going to say, oops, I'm sorry? I think that, they should just ban those people who are doing it and ban the people who are supplying it to them. Not give them a smack on the wrist. If you messed up and you tested positive and whoever gave it to you, you're out of here. End of story.
I guess the positive would be that we're seeing a lot more positive tests, which is why people are getting caught cheating, whereas we didn't know what it was like before. Maybe these people weren't getting caught.
Exactly. Well, we'll never know what happened then, but we can control now and moving forward.
One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about some of your stables, Callum Smith. Is there any news on the future of Callum? We're unaware in the UK whether he wants to continue fighting. Is that what you gather?
Well, we spoke today, as a matter of fact. Man, we just, he says he's gonna come down and see me. I don't discuss boxing with them. When they have something coming up, they let me know. Hey, coach, this is what's happening.
Good stuff. Cheers for your time, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.